Hey everybody, I was standing out on the street in Venice, California, and this guy came by playing a guitar with his hat out, and I said, "You sound pretty good. Why don't you come over to my store and do a tune or two for me?"
That's right. Actor out of work needs dough.
Did I see that? My buddy Frank Stallone.
Hey, Norman.
Great actor and excellent musician and quite a character. I see him on all these reality shows and all
you
that.
just saw me in this new one. What's it called?
Treasure King.
Treasure King. My friend Richie Marcello was on the show, and he said, "You want to come in?" They said they're going to bring in the bogus Rocky headgear, which there is none. There's none that exists.
You have it, right?
I have all this stuff. I stole everything. No one has it. I have all the shit.
So if you want to know where the Rocky memorabilia is,
come to my house and I'll
it.
shoot your ass. Yeah. It's like I keep it where Norm keeps his good guitar, so you can't get into it. But yeah, so the guy came in and goes, "Yeah, I bought this thing for like." How much did he say he bought for? Like $10,000 Rocky headgear.
Something, you know.
Yeah, and he said there's a signature on it. I said, well, this is all bullshit. So
Yeah,
you
said
got
the
wrong.
signature was wrong, and also
Everything's
the other one
wrong.
had what, like a face gear or something?
Yeah, it's all wrong. So he said he's going to put it on the guy that sold it to him and throw a fucking beating on him. So there you go.
Whoop.
Right? There you go. But you know, we had such success with the last video with Dave Amato and who else was it?
Well,
Dave and Derek.
And Derek St. Owens,
Yeah, it was really funny. I mean, you know, this is kind of like the old cigar store, you know, like this place. Because, I mean, musicians gravitate here because there are all these great guitars. I mean, I got to say, you got more guitars now than I've seen in many, many years. You're really loaded up.
You know what? I can't help myself. I love good guitars. When I see
but you're
them,
really loaded up, man. You got some great, I mean, you probably have more Martins than anybody in the...
And there's a lot that's not showing, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so there's a lot
That's
of
the
cool
stuff I
You
want.
bought a lot of cool guitars from me.
Yes,
over
I
the years.
did. Oh,
In fact, the Super 400.
the Super 400, which is over there. The first year, 1934. But you know what's really funny? I bumped into Joe Walsh at Craig's. He's with Drew Carey. And I said, "Joe, you know, you bought my Champagne Sparkle Telecaster from Norm." He goes, "Do you remember that guitar?" He goes, "Yeah, bud." I said, "Well, that's my guitar. I had made the custom shop. I went to L.A. Easton, and I just didn't feel right for me, so I traded some stuff for Norm. And because you had told me he came in and bought that. It was that Champagne Sparkle Telly from the custom shop. And he goes, "Yeah, I remember that. So, yeah, a lot of guitars have...
They float and they circulate amongst different people.
And sometimes you find your old guitar comes back. Like most musicians...
They don't disintegrate. They're going to outlive us. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's musicians are feast or famine. You know, guys go, "Hey man, I ain't selling my axe." I said, "Fuck, you won't. If you need money, you're gonna sell your wife. If you need money, so
Depends
first
how hungry you get.
Yeah, depends how hungry you get. But I mean, these guitars aren't here because people wanted to get rid of them. Most of them.
Well, you know, sometimes people, you know, go from electric to acoustic, or acoustic
people
to
die.
electric, or that kind of thing. Or sometimes the people, you know, the guitars are sitting there, they're just not getting played,
Yeah.
so they go, "I'd rather trade it for something that I could use more," and that kind of thing.
Well, the era's changed. I mean, I started getting like Les Pauls in the '60s, as Norm did. We're like the same age. So the thing is, that stuff's kind of disappeared. Where the '58 Les Paul's under the bed. My son went to Vietnam and got shot, and oh, this guitar's under the bed. It's never played.
You used to have an original V, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had original Explorer. I bought for $150. Interesting story. Music City in Philadelphia. I worked all summer. Go figure that. In 1965 for $150. All summer for $150.
Well, they got what they paid for it.
They paid for it. Actually, I was overpaid. So anyway, I go into Music City. Now in those days, they had all the new stuff: Fender Jaguars, Foxes, you know, all this stuff up there. So I said, "Hey man," the guy's name was Shane Thunder. I'll never forget it. He was like a Jewish guy. He was a drummer. He changed his name to Shane Thunder. It's like Shane Lipschitz or something. Anyway, so
There you go.
I go in there.
Oh, maybe that's who it was.
That's who it was. That guy paid me $150. So I walk in and I said, "Hey, I got $150, man. I try." He goes, "Well, okay, go back and look at the old shit." So I go in the back and I see all these cases like tan Fender. I open one case. It's like a red, looks like a really old Stratocaster, maple neck, all worn in. I said, "How much is that, man?" He goes, $150. So I see this tan case. I open it up. I go, "What the hell is this?" It was a Gibson Explorer. I said, "It kind of looked like a Firebird." I didn't know what the hell. I said, "What is this?" He goes, "I don't know what the hell it is." I said, "How much for this?" He goes, $150.
That seems to be his price, right?
Yeah, $150. And I bought it in '65, so it was a '58 Explorer. So it was only 7 years old. It was, I mean, immaculate condition. Norm, What would that sell for today?
Kind of whatever you want.
I mean, could
500 grand.
Are you serious?
Like that, 300
Didn't one
grand.
go in the auction for 6?
Yeah, it can be all over the place on those. But
And
those
mine
are
was
some of
nice.
the rarest.
Mine had the Clouson. Mine was a nice one. And Les Pauls. I mean, I sold my '58 Les Paul. I thought I did a killing for $400 in 1970. I go, yeah, bitch. Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. That's probably here. It's probably in your store. But those days are, I went to Father Divine's. Was like a black, like kind of, one of those kind of like mission places.
Uh-huh.
I swear to God. I go, what's that case? $15. I said, open. It was a fucking National Duolian.
Uh-huh.
$15. So I came in there another week. I see a small case, and I open up. It's a little mahogany Martin. How much is that? Give me $12. It was 1969.
So you gave him $15 for the other one, the
Duolian
National,
and 12 for the Martin.
and that was at Father Divine's.
Father Divine.
You know you're going to hell. Right?
I'm going to hell. Not Father Divine. I'm going down in Philadelphia, but people didn't know about that stuff, Norm. I mean, you are before anybody. Maybe you and Matt Umanoff. Maybe.
Been a long time. Matt's been around a long time.
Long time.
And,
You were way before Grove.
Mandolin Brothers been around for
Not
quite
as long
a while.
as you.
Not quite, but also there's in New York the Gear Traders, I think it was, or
We Buy?
well, he's been around. Richie was around.
But
for a
you were,
long time,
but
too.
you started what, 70?
I opened the store in '75, but I've been doing it since the late '60s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you were like, I mean, seriously, folks, you could get Les Pauls like for $450, but that was a lot of money back
I
then.
remember passing on one for $800, which I thought was just outrageous, and it was a killer.
$800. I will sit there to my death in Norm's words, Frank. When I started having hit records, Frank, you're making a lot of money. Why don't you buy some of these Les Pauls? They're like $5,000. I said, nah. You want you and your brother come in? I could have like 15, 20 Les Pauls. I retired.
I told you.
I know
told
you did.
Now you're still working.
Now I'm still
If
working.
You were listening to me. Financial advice, Norm's Rare Guitars.
I went back to
guitars and financial
$150. No, so but these are my guitars of choice, man. I play a D41. This D45 is beautiful, man. This is a really good one.
Play a little something, Frank.
Okay.
Show them what you can do musically.
Once I lived a life of a millionaire. Oh wait, Missouri River, so deep and wide. There's a red-headed woman on the other side, and now she's gone. I can't worry. I'm sitting on top of the world.
Woo!
Yeah,
Frank.
baby. Call me
You know,
the White
Frank-
Knight with the brown sound. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Frank can really sing, man. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, but Frank can sing so many different styles.
Yeah.
You did that.
The big
you
band
with
stuff?
Nelson Riddle, and
The
you
Nelson
did,
Riddle stuff.
And
it comes
do it,
from,
uh,
like, we've talked about this many times. When we were coming up playing, you kind of had to play almost everything. I mean, because, radio
Top
was...
40 radio.
Top
If you
40.
wanted to gig, you had to play all the
Well,
tunes.
everything was on. You had
Yep.
Dean Martin, then you had the Beatles, then you had the Stones.
Country,
Then
whatever,
country, yeah.
It was all in the top 40.
Yeah, so you had to kind of play
Now
that
it's all
stuff.
polarized. And
Yeah,
so
it's
many
all
different-
really polarized. I mean, we'd have like, what was that group you played with? We Family, baby? The one
was
where,
that?
where your parents showed up. It was that black group.
Oh, Freddie Scott and the Kinfolk.
Kinfolk, baby. Can you imagine doing that? You would get shot. If you had a black group going, hey man, it's Frank Stallone and Kinfolk, you'd have the NAACP. They'd kill you. Kinfolk?
We were like 17 years old. We
17-year-old.
were trying to get a gig, which was their gig at this place called The Barn in Miami.
In Miami.
And they
Kinfolk.
sabotaged us, where they unplugged all our equipment. We had our family and all our friends out there, and
that's
we kind of made
classic.
fools out of ourselves.
It's
We
so
were called the
funny.
Aztecs.
The Aztecs.
And our manager told us that we would have to run around the dance floor doing like smoke signals and woo woo.
Were you
stuff
wearing like
that.
Dickies and stuff?
We had Indian outfits. We had Seminole Indian jackets, and
God.
our manager told us, "You want to make it big? This is what you got to do." We were kids. We figured,
That's
we'll
what
do
happened.
whatever you tell us.
That's
you
what
know.
happened to me, man. In Philadelphia, they go, you know what, you guys are good, but you got to get outfits. I said, "What?" We were like into like the Stones and loving this movie. He goes, "No, man, you got to get outfits." So we went out to like Crash Brothers, and bought these big check like pants like with beetle boots, and orange like turtlenecks. You know how hot it was wearing this stuff? It's like, and
We were wearing Seminole Indian jackets. Now I'll tell you one story.
They were all
that
Jewish
dig.
guys. It was called the Whitefish Tribe. No, I'm not kidding.
No, check this out. We're wearing these Seminole Indian coats. We're all these multicolored. We bought them at the Seminole Indian
Like trading
reservation
posts?
or
Yeah.
something, And we were the Aztecs.
Oh, God.
And we were too young to drive, so the drummer's mom would drive all the equipment. My drummer, Jerry Greenhouse, his mom would drive all the equipment to the gig, and I would take a bus. And I was wearing a blue shirt, and I had my Seminole Indian jacket and a bag.
On the bus?
On the bus. I get there, I go to the gig, and the guitar player says to me, gee, his name was Larry Levine. He says, boy, I didn't really feel that good before the show, and I threw up on something. Anyhow, after the show, I go back there, and he had thrown up on my blue shirt. So I had to wear my Seminole Indian coat on the bus.
Like vomit?
And there was, I didn't, the vomit was stay there on the blue shirt.
You left the shirt.
Right, but I had to wear the Seminole Indian outfit, which was ridiculous looking, on the bus at 12 o'clock at night going home. I get on the bus, there's only one guy on the bus besides a bus driver. It's
Probably
a
an
black
Indian.
guy. No, black guy. And
He was a
looked-
drummer in Kinfolk.
and, yeah,
He was
yeah.
like-
And he looks at me and goes, nice jacket, man. And it was like, humiliation. But that's what we had to do. So,
But isn't that like the Jerry Reed story? I think you told me or something. He came to a gig and he was wearing like a chartreuse like suit, like shiny suit, and he was an alcoholic, Jimmy Reed. And he threw up in his guitar case all over the front of his suit. And he's like just going on stage. I think you told me. You might have been back here. And someone was smoking. He goes, "No smoking on the bandstand."
no smoking on my bandstand.
On my bandstand, but with vomit all over. I mean, people like when they locked up Screaming Jay Hawkins in the coffin.
Yeah, that was the Drifters.
The Drifters, man.
Yeah.
Because he had a song called "I Put a Spell on You," and he come out of the coffin. So they were just tired of his bullshit on the
They
tour.
played a joke on him and they locked the coffin.
Locked the coffin.
And he shook the coffin and it broke open. And he got out and he was wearing a white tux. And he said he relieved himself in the,
So he had skid marks on the back of his pants chasing those guys out.
yeah.
But that's rock and roll, man. I mean, there are a million stories like that. I mean, and that's why this guitar store like Norm's, it's because it's a hangout. I mean, musicians come in, they tell stories. Some of the old guys, Jerry McGee, some of the great guys would come in. And I mean, anybody that's played guitar has been here at one point or another.
Cool.
I just seem to come to motherfucker when no one's here. No,
Well,
except
you've
me.
done it at different times, but we like to hold court in here.
I hold court, man. We have a good time, and they're just really great guitars. I mean, and it's really an addiction. So I got to really be careful because I've walked out and bought stuff I really couldn't afford, and then at home I go, like, I need another guitar,
Like that Sunburst Les Paul. Right?
like the Sunburst Les Paul. Now that I need, but I don't have. But look at that black Dove. Nice. Is that original?
It's a 70s one. Not that
Nice,
clean,
though.
but it's a
Nice,
nice
that's
the
cool.
Elvis guitar.
It's one of those, baby.
All right, well,
But
we're going to
anyway,
have to wrap this up
we're gonna
here,
wrap this up, but,
my buddy Frank Stallone, thank you
you.
for stopping by.
Thank you, baby.
Just never know who you might run into in Venice.
So you very much. That's right, man. And if you need some yard work, just give me a call, baby. I mean that.
That's
Get
right.
at
I
it.
might have to do some myself.
You right.